All right, right on.
Roofy, I met you the year that I ended working Sirius Rising.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you walked up to me and introduced yourself, and the first thing that went through my mind was, "Where have you been all these years?" Because for 8 years we'd been kind of, getting by with baling wire and string, and all of a sudden here comes a genuine, real live, honest to goodness AV engineer. What was it that made you even want to offer your services here?
Well, the idea is another festival brought me here to Brushwood, and I was involved with them, dealing with their radio station, and but I did, since being an AV guy, I had a history in broadcasting plus into audiovisual industry. So I became a seasonal camper here at Brushwood, and I found out about Sirius Rising, and I came, and I'm like, wow, all right, maybe we need this. So I kind of got involved helping the existing crew there with some help, and then eventually they moved on, and I took over. That's like 15 years ago. I've been running this stage.
I really think that you've become such a fixture. I don't think people would know what the stage looked like without you there doing it.
Right. So yeah, it's funny that you bring that up. Is that we were talking? I was actually talking to Frank Five, who's the general manager of the radio station now, because I used to run that, and then we did the transition where he took over the radio station, I took over the stage, and we looked at each other this year and said, "Oh my goodness, we've been doing it for 15 years, and now here we are, Sirius 30." And we're like, wow, that's half the time that we've been both doing these parts. So
now you mentioned the radio station. Fill me in a little bit on the history. Where did the station come from, and what was your role in the development?
Well, okay, so the funny thing is, as I mentioned before, there was another festival that was here at Brushwood, and that was an intricate part of their radio station, and we're getting it up and so forth. And so I said, well, wait a minute. Well, if this other festival can have a radio station, why can't Sirius Rising have one? And I said, so I started it. So I used to be camped in the RV field, and the very first Sirius Rising radio station was a 10x10 in my campsite. And I broadcasted from there, and people kind of had to know where it is, because it was like a secret, society type thing, where it's like, oh, where's the radio station, But and the name of the station then was Dog Star, after Sirius Rising. And then as it progressed forward, and the other festival found out that there was another radio station on site, so they became a little worried. And then what was happening was that during the other festival, we kind of fired up Sirius Rising Radio, but we named it Mad Dog Radio, as saying, well, we're mad that you're on our land. So the Dog Star became Mad Dog Radio. So we used to broadcast Mad Dog Radio while the other festival's radio station was going on. So there's two options. But we were sort of considerate, so we would only start broadcasting after they went off the air. And we were like an overnight thing, and it was a lot of fun. And then eventually the other festival left, and now we're like, well, we really don't want to call it Mad Dog or Dog Star, so what happened is, I know you interviewed Frank Five about it, just to reiterate his words, and then we just transferred over to just Brushwood Radio. So not only this community radio station can service Brushwood, not just for just Sirius Rising. So if we wanted to use it for anything else, any other event that Brushwood wants to put on, it's going to be there. And also the fact that now we're now online this year, we're going to make Brushwood Radio, a year-long thing.
One of the things I think, the thing that I think is most important about what you have done in the years that you've been here is you professionalize this whole stage operation.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, this is, we're talking equipment, we're talking people, procedures, personnel. Everything has become much more slick and professional than I would ever have thought it could be.
Well, we're all volunteers. This is what's amazing. So my crew, if they're all volunteers, and they somewhat all work in the industry, which is, thank goodness that I know people. Like Sean, he's my number two. He's my right-hand man. I couldn't do this without him, because he's my lighting director. So he's the one that brings all the light show. He sets it up. He's the one that programs it. I wouldn't have time to do all that, knowing I enjoy doing stuff like that, but that's his forte. And then I bring, along with the Brushwood has their own equipment, as well as I supplement with my own. And we just try to strive to make sure that the system is running, make sure it works. If it doesn't work, we repair it, make sure it's going. So to the audience member, it's seamless. Nothing happens. If there's an issue arises, my team is on top of it. And I had a team of 6 at one time, and now, you know, it varies year to year, but I always encourage people to want to volunteer, but it's hard work, you know. It's just like the other, you know, like the wood busters, you know, they bust their butt taking care of the fires all night and building the big bonfire. But I'm every night, you know, just like most of the other volunteer staffs they're doing here to make sure we're putting on a good show. Because my job as the sound engineer is to make sure whoever's on that stage, on my stage, okay, if they're not comfortable playing on my stage, my job is to make them feel comfortable, because once they're comfortable playing, then they have no fears or expectations. All they have to do is play. And my job is to bring that experience to the audience.